internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic book community. Comic creators and comic fans, tonight you are seen, heard, recognized, because comics are for everyone. Live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world, this is the Not Near Mint Show. Welcome to the Not Near Mint Show, everybody. It is January the 17th, 2025, the second week of January, and we're going to dive right into the top 10 comic books. So as I do every week, on Thursday nights, I wind up hitting the update button for values in CLZ, and as long as you have CLZ tagged up with CovrPrice and you're paying a subscription for both, it'll spit out for you a pretty much accurate update of what comics are at that time, usually based off of the last comic book that was sold in the last week or so. So here we are. We're going to begin with the top 10 comics, and we begin with, as I switch over to the next camera, number 10, we have Uncanny X-Men number 50. This is before it was called Uncanny. This is the first iconic logo by Jim Steranko. It's the second appearance and first cover of Lorna Dane. She doesn't wind up getting called Polaris until much later, but it's also the second Mesmero. This came out in 1968 in a fine, very fine. Somebody paid $284. It is down $111 this week. Now, as I do these with the top 10, we start with the first 5 that have gone down in price, and then we do the ones that have gone up in price. Number 9 is Green Lantern issue number 3 from volume 2. This is just an early Hal Jordan issue, and, somebody paid $169 this week. It is down $81 in a good, very good, from 1960. I mean, if you're not trying to put together a giant run of this, it might be a little bit easier right about now. Also want to shout out and say hi to Michael Eamon, great legend. Good to see you, sir. And Las Cruces. Now we have number 8, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue 106. This is the controversial issue where Lois Lane turns into a black woman for an issue. This was deemed very insensitive back in the time that it came out in 1970, and in a very good fine, somebody paid $80 this week. It is down $67. So if you're looking for this might be an easier book to find on eBay for this weekend. Although I do have to tell y'all, Bitcoin is up to $104,000, and the stock market ended the week this week 300 points up. So you will have the investor class tech bros that pulled out money for the weekend, and you'll be bidding against them. You might want to hold off this weekend. Number 7, we have Avengers issue number 6. This is the first full appearance of Baron Heinrich Zemo and the Masters of Evil. This came out in 1964 and in a very good minus 3.5 raw. Somebody paid $145 this week. It is down $39. Good issue to have, but most people that are the collectors of just the keys, they just want those, the 1, the 4, the big ones. Now, this one is a little bit surprising because it's still relevant considering that she is still going around as Daredevil currently. This is the first appearance of Elektra as Daredevil in volume 6, issue number 25 of Daredevil. Wow, this thing came out in 2020. It was at one point going for about $40, $50. Somebody this week paid for a near mint copy, $3. It is down $33. Now for the books that have gone up this week, we have number 5, The Max. This is the C cover. It is the glow in the dark. I don't know if this is one of the ones where you had to send away for this, but it is one of the rare ones, and it shares the first appearance of The Max with Darker Image number 1. Came out in 1993 in a near mint. Somebody paid $80 this week for this. It is up 22. Max is a great character, but there has been no news as far as TV shows, movies, animation. Had a great 1990s MTV cartoon. Always great to watch if you can find that on YouTube. Number 4, we have Marvel Spotlight number 32. This is the first appearance of Spider-Woman. Now, this came out in 1976. This is back when she didn't have hair. And that comes a little bit later on in a Marvel 2-in-1. But coming out in 1976 in a fine minus, somebody paid $62 this week, which, wow, you could have gotten this for even cheaper a couple weeks ago, but somebody paid a little bit more this week. It is up $27. Number 3, this usually winds up getting onto all the Comic Tom 101 top 10 list because he deals more in the volume. We're dealing just with one sale in the span of a week. So for the first time on this show, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 252. This is the first appearance of the Black Symbiote costume. You would have had to wait about 8 months in Secret Wars number 8 to find out how he got it. But it's fun, and we're not trying to be speculators here. We're all trying to build our collections, get our full runs. I know a lot of people are concerned about money, but this show is supposed to help us try and find things a little bit cheaper because we know the investor tech bro class of comic collectors are the ones that are kind of crowding us out because a lot of us, well, the rich have a word for us. They call us the poors. Well, in any case, this came out in 1984 in a very fine minus. Somebody paid $121 this week. It is up $57. This thing goes up and down, so if you wait long enough, there are a ton of these out there, and you can definitely get them for less. Number 2, we have Mark Spears' Monsters, the A cover. This is the first issue of the breakout hit of 2024. Mark Spears blew up last year. And because of that, we saw the Bridezilla cover that quickly rose up to $200 plus. Well, now, oh my God, we have this 2024 issue that came out back in October of last year. Near mint condition. Somebody paid $263 for this raw, up 61. Will this be able to hold? I don't know. You tell me. There's all kinds of independent books out there. I can cite Canto. I can cite Stray Dogs. I can cite many, many independent books that once they finish, those prices that were really, really high on up there, you could probably get them for about $20. So just wait for it if you really, really want it, and you can get it, I'm sure. And for the number 1 book, we have Silver Surfer number 14. One lucky person this week, or maybe not so lucky because this has always been an expensive book, in a very fine minus 7.5. Somebody paid $216. It is up 87. This came out in 1970. It's a black cover. And next week on Blue Sky, as I did this week, it was Death Week for reasons that will become evident on Monday. So we're just mourning things, democracy and the like. So on Monday, we're not going to post on Blue Sky or anywhere. And Tuesday, we're going to start with Black Cover Week. But this was a crossover appearance by Spider-Man. First time they really fight. And this came out in 1970. Yeah, $216, up 87. And those are the top 10 comics that came out. Well, not came out. We're going to do those a little later for the new comics that came out this week. But otherwise, we have in the back waiting Miracleman and Tacoma Comics. Hey, gentlemen.
Using a razor blade.
I heard the other day you were grabbing for a mouse and instead you grabbed a razor blade.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. There's some packaging for you.
Oh, it's crunchy.
At least it came in this. I'm not going to argue too much. Guy gave me a deal. He actually had 5 random ones for sale, and I only needed 3 of them. So I offered him a lower amount, and he accepted my offer. And then he saw my email, so he would have taken the lower amount for all 5. But I didn't feel like going back on my word, so I just got the 3 I needed. What's up?
I don't know. That was so wow that my cat just turned his back on all of us.
Well, there you go. Good evening, everybody.
Just got home.
No, it's okay. It's late at night for some people over here on the East Coast. On the West Coast, it's dinner time for most people. It's about 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
Get them fries, man. Get them fries.
Now, we're just going to skip all the collecting and just go right to eating pasta tonight.
I can show you some comics too.
Pasta and comics. Navy beans. Navy beans.
I got like 2 to 3 stacks. And we started off backstage. I told you it was a dry week for me, man. I didn't find anything. I was thinking, I'm going to get home. I'm going to have to pull out some old stuff that people have probably seen before. And then I went to Half Price. Well, I went to Destiny today. He had a couple comics pulled aside for me. And then I went over to Half Price. And I went to an antique store and he had nothing new. Went to Half Price and they had a lot of new stuff. And it's been dead all week. So I didn't realize how much he charged me for this one, but I don't talk him down anymore because it's a good shop. Got the blank sketch cover for the 2015 Star Wars.
There you go.
I got this Hastings variant on Vader from the 2015 run, which I don't think I have.
Oh, nice.
I grabbed myself this. So between this one, which he sold for $4, which is great because this is still like a $10 book. It used to be a $25 book when everybody thought Black Chrysanthemum was going to be as cool as he was. And then he wasn't anywhere near as cool as he was. But I also grabbed 11, which he had. And with these two, I now have a second full run of Kieran Gillen, Adi Granov's. Sorry, is it Stephen LaRocca? Not Adi Granov. Granov did a few of them covers, but I think it's LaRocca, Gillen, Adi Granov in colors. Covers. I got a second run of the 2015 Darth Vader. Why not? That's what I got for you. Why not? I see them there, and I'm like, I got to pick these up. Just like I got to pick up this Princess Leia.
Beautiful
variant. They had the color and the black and white. I got the black and white.
You go with black and white.
I didn't need both. Is this Lanil Yu or doesn't say? I'm not sure. I got to look up the artist. I literally just got home, guys. I'm sorry. And then Half Price had a few things that I didn't have before and I didn't buy because I wasn't going to pay full price for them. But some nice variants on Star Wars High Republic featuring Christina Ariel. 3 in a row. And then everybody's favorite anti-hero, Chile Afra. Got number 1 on Alyssa Wong's 40-issue run. I got number 1 on Kieran Gillen's 40-issue run. I also got number 1 in Kieran Gillen's 40-issue run. Honestly, somebody stop me. I got number 2. I didn't actually pick up number 3. I forgot. That's the one that has a little bit of value because it's got like, I don't remember, to be honest with you. Got number 9. That's the first appearance of like the Shadow University, a bunch of like evil archaeologists that she was tangentially related to and that's or connected with. And then I got these, which this one I didn't pick up, but I have this one out. This is one of my all-time favorite covers. Ashley Witter just killing it.
Nice.
It's so beautiful. I love that. The red and the green and all the like, kind of muted Star Warsy colors. So I have these other 2 Ashley Witter covers that I think are just as gorgeous. 29. And the big 3-0. Does 3 have the Assassin's Droids? No, the Assassin's Droids is in Darth Vader 3, Michael. I believe. I'll double check. But I think when she appeared in Darth Vader, she appeared with BT and 000 behind her. If somebody could double check that for me. I already have all the printings of this, but I figured I'd pick up another 4th printing and number 2, 6th printing. I always love this cover too. Chewing Han, kind of like hiding with Vader in the background, and then the AT-ATs behind him.
That's great. That's a great cover.
6th printing, and both of these, like each printing is just a different color background, same basic stuff. So yeah. So picked up a little Star Wars, most of which I already had, but we're not judging. We're loving here.
Always.
There you go.
Beautiful stuff.
Man, Mr.
Beautiful
Captain
stuff.
of Awesome.
I got a couple things.
A couple. 1 or 2.
I got a couple things. I haven't been on the show, right? So it's been, what was our last show before the holidays?
December.
December.
We were on last week.
No,
That was
I missed
me and
last week.
Tacoma. So before then, it must have been back in December.
So
Yeah,
it's been a bit.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to say this: I have not bought a lot of comics recently. I haven't in the last month or so. You know, holidays and whatnots. But I did have some holiday books come in, and believe it or not, after the last show where I showed a shit ton of books, I still had a short box I hadn't shown. So I got a few things.
Time to play
And
catch up.
prepared.
So first things first, I'm going to show you what came in today, right? Now, this might have come in yesterday. I don't remember. But look at this motherfucker right here.
Oh, nice.
Betty Page Rules by Jim Silk. It was published by Dark Horse Comics, I think, 2013 or somewhere thereabouts.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert.
This is not just Betty. It's a lot of pinup models over the years. There's art in here as well as original photos. This is a great book if you can find it, especially if you're a Betty Page fan. But if you just like pretty ladies, it's also a pretty great book. This one did show up today. Super excited from Tomorrow's Publishing. This came out, again, about 10, 12 years ago, maybe a little bit less. Matt Baker, The Art of Glamour. Matt Baker is basically the father of Good Girl Art, original artist on Phantom Lady, back in the Golden Age, did Canteen Kate, had that famous Seven Seas cover. This book, really hard to find. It's a real nice hardcover book. There's a beautiful Phantom Lady right there.
Still easier to find than any of the original copies from
By
the
far.
50s of Phantom Girl.
By far. And then these were a couple of the old holiday gifts for me here. Check this out from Jaime Hernandez, Queen of the Ring.
Oh, nice.
His sketchbook. I love the Hernandez brothers. Great artwork. The book's really nice. It's a gorgeous book. These are all just, Jesus Christ, Michael. These are all just random sketches he did of wrestling ladies over the years. And then this one kind of was a surprise for me. Look at this from Fantagraphics. That's what that one's from. This one also from Fantagraphics, The Complete Web of Horror. Hardcover. Look at. First of all, when you start a book and it's a 2-page Wrightson Frankenstein, you know it's going to be a good book, man.
You just got my cat's attention.
Look at that. Look at that. Check it out, little kitty. This is beautiful. First time these magazines, this is an old black and white horror mag. This is the first time this magazine's ever been collected. There's some beautiful work here that's never been reprinted. Fantastic artist. Highly recommend if you can get yourself a copy of that. I'm not even a huge horror guy, but huge, beautiful book. Loved it.
Miracleman. I just read from the macros on Kickstarter about the Frightful 15 comics, those horror reprints.
Yes.
Looks like the printing is all done. They had to reprint about 30% of the run, but the fulfillment order should start going out next week.
That's sexy. That's sexy right there.
Archie just finished up where it made all its money and more. So that'll be going out soon too.
That's great. This is from Aristo Publications. The original artist of Red Sonja was a gentleman by the name of Frank Thorne. After he left Red Sonja, he did Gita of Alizar, which was like a porn version of Red Sonja. And then he did this, The Iron Devil. This one's a little bit harder to find. I mean, it's published by Aristo, for crying out loud. Does anybody even know who they are? But this is beautiful book. If you like Frank Thorne's art, that is a book to own right there. Really great. Haven't finished reading it yet. It is adult and mature themed. That's not a shadow in the middle there. So it's just fair warning. And then I got some comics. I got some regular old-fashioned comics. Let's do a couple of cool comics here. First up, I love the 90s spoof comics. I love them. They're usually awful, right? Here's Yawn, #1.
Oh wow.
With a splat man. Yep. There's a black suit Spider Woman. There's a Venom in the background there. Look at all that. Here is, I'm a big Savage Dragon guy. Here's the Savage Dragon spoof. It's the Sewage Dragoon. Look at the size of his fin.
Oof.
Hashtag, that's what she said.
How do you walk indoors with that?
You don't. That's why he lives in a sewer. Another series I love from the 90s, the old Lobo stuff. I'm really close to finishing all of his miniseries from back then. I needed these 2 issues from Contract on God. It's not actually God, so don't write the show or anything. But look at this cover, man. Look at this one. This is phenomenal. It's just such great stuff. Grant really should just. Alan Grant should just write Lobo for the rest of his life, and I would just buy it. Then we're going to switch things up. Look at that, a Yang. Tacoma, I was thinking of you. My son got me these. But as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, I bet you Tacoma will like this. An Itchy and Scratchy Comics #1.
Oh, sweet.
Now it's not a newsstand, but of Simpsons Comics and Stories #1.
Nice.
It's a special collector's edition. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. That means they made millions of them.
Millions of copies. And here's a Bartman #1 with
reflective. Yep.
Reflective silver ink. Reflective silver ink. Just so you know, printing that silver ink sucks. But he got me those for the holidays. He's such a sweet boy. I really taught him well. And then I got some of my favorite, some Lady Death.
Lady Death Kills the Simpsons, or we?
Yeah. This is Lady Death Alive #1. That's one of her later miniseries. I think it came from 2001, so it's shortly before the Chaos went out of business. And then he went over to he went to CrossGen, but then after CrossGen, he went to Avatar. And here's Lady Death Belladonna crossover. Here's a Lady Death She crossover. Here's another issue from the Lady Death She crossover.
Sweet.
Here's another issue from the Lady Death She crossover. I believe that's all the issues right there. And what? How about that show, Creature Commandos? Everybody loving Creature Commandos?
I did all the way up until the last episode.
Oh my God. So good. If this is what Gun's bringing us, gang, we're going to love the Gunniverse. I'm not done with my original Creature Commandos run, so I found these right here.
Ooh, good one.
There's a 102 and a 108, which also gives us a little friendly neighborhood GI robot.
I think that's the issue he dies in, too.
It might be.
Either he dies or he comes back.
And then I got this, which I was vastly underpriced. I don't know why it was. But here's a Wonder Woman #183.
Oh, wow.
Look at those. I think I paid $1 for this.
That's one of the ones I'm missing.
Yeah, they're this era is a little tough to come by in nice condition.
The mod era.
But it's pretty nice. And then here we go. We got Adam Hughes Catwoman I needed. Getting real close to finishing those. This is a weird one. Nobody has this book, right? And I understand why. This is from AC Comics. This is Bolt and the Multi-Bolts. Every character here has Bolt in their name. And it's a flip book. And on the other side is a whole different super team called the J Squad. Look at that. Look at that. There's a
Should I ask
superhero.
what J stands for?
I don't even know. I haven't even read it. I didn't care. But it said there was a superhero named the Carbonator. I was like, yep, this is a book for me. I must own it. I am collecting all the AC stuff, so that isn't that unusual for me to grab anyway. But really nice one. And then I picked up, Moon Knight was really hot there for a while, right? But he's cooled down a little. But some of his series still a little tough to come by. I finished Volume 1. I finished Volume 2. Well, not true. Yeah, I finished Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'm still working on Mark Spector. But here is 2 of the issues from Volume 3 of Moon Knight. Look at that gorgeous cover. Tommy Edwards. I think it's Tommy Edwards. There's issue 3. There's issue 4.
Oh, nice.
From volume 4, here's issue 1, 2. Now these are much more traditional superhero. 3, but they're still, the Moon Knight weirdness. And 4, right there.
A run you usually don't see very often.
Volume 3 and volume 4. I don't know. The print runs were real low. That's early 2000. It's like I think it was like 2000.
That's another thing that they had at my LCS today was a lot of like modern Moon Knight, kind of the most recent runs. They had a whole bunch. They had a whole bunch of everything.
You don't say.
Oh yeah.
You don't say. And then you know what gets really tough to find? The later issues of the Deathstroke run from the 90s. Anything after like issue 55, but from 50 on up, it gets kind of hard. Here's 50. And here is a 52. I don't know if anybody realizes this. Who's that writer?
Marv Wolfman.
Right. Right. I don't know if people realize that Marv was working on that book. Marv fucking Wolfman, man, fuck's sakes. And then speaking of Lobo, I had to grab this one as well, just because, Lobo of Valor number 4.
Oh yeah,
gotta love that. I got more to show, but you want to show something there, Rob? Or you want to have Tacoma show something?
I can show the small chunk that I have here because I didn't get a lot this week. I only really got 4 books, but 4 big books, and I don't mean that they were expensive. I mean, a couple more a little pricey. But how about I just show them, right?
Show them.
No one wants to hear me talk about it. You want to see the damn thing. And now that I have the cameras rigged up properly, I can do that. So I'm going to start with the fact that I wasn't really a collector of these oversized ones, but they started small because, it's called a slippery slope for a reason.
Got the glasses?
Yep, the glasses are in here.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
I even have a picture on old Twitter where it has me wearing it in the sun. So this one here I got several months back for like maybe $80. This thing was going for a lot more money just about 2 years ago. People were paying $500, $800 for it, $80. And as you see here, this is 7.5 or 7.0 raw, but it had the damn mask. That's all I really wanted. And this is the one that pretty much started off me getting the larger oversized stuff before Distillery and TMNT Last Ronin all started doing their stuff oversized. But this is the first appearance of Psylocke before she's Psylocke. It's Betsy Braddock.
Betsy Braddock.
It's a cis white girl. You would not know who she is until much later on in American comics. Now, these are ones that I've had. Again, got this a while back. This one was maybe about $30 or so. Came out in the 60s. So yes, first Uncle Creepy.
Nice.
This one I got about 4 years ago, and it was already signed by George Perez. I knew it was a real signature because I have the poster of Crisis on Infinite Earth signed by him. So yeah, I dropped a huge amount of money on this years ago, and it's come down, but I'm just glad that I have it at this point. Awesome. Especially with a new Daredevil show with White Tiger, and this is his first. I mean, last page, full costume, and now everyone's getting uppity about cameos and furs. It was his first full costume. They call him White Tiger. He's first White Tiger. This was the first Monsters Unleashed. This was a little bit less because it's all ripped up the side, but for about $20, sure. This one I had a torn up copy because I had it since I was a kid. It was the inspiration for X-Men, the first movie. So yes, please. Christopher Claremont. He wants to be known as Christopher here. And there's that Wizard that I've had since I was a kid. And here we come to the first oversized issues that I've ever owned. And it all started this week. So if I was going to start, might as well start big, right?
Oh, there you go.
And you don't start any bigger than with the treasury size books where it starts with Muhammad Ali. Superman versus Muhammad Ali. This came out in 1978. And it has
is there anybody still alive on that cover?
Stanley is gone. Everybody else, no. Everyone's dead.
Jimmy Carter's dead. He's in the bottom right there. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, well, actually, the strange thing is I didn't intend to do this, but when I picked this up on Wednesday, Carter just passed. He just had his funeral. Texas is going to raise their flags because they're just stupid. But when I bought this book, I didn't realize that today, January 17th, is the birthday of Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
Born in
shit.
1942, January 17th. Happy birthday, Muhammad Ali. It doesn't matter. You're not going to hear it.
Well,
And that was the limited collector's edition issue 56. They just reprinted that. I think maybe they'll get around to reprinting this. This is the Superman versus Amazing Spider-Man. This is the first time that DC and Marvel cross over with their main characters, because the first time they actually did a crossover, it was the Wizard of Oz.
it was?
It was the Wizard of Oz.
The Marvelous Wizard of Oz.
Oh, sorry, the Marvelous Wizard of Oz. All right, so this is part 2 of that same story. These things usually aren't pretty cheap, but I wanted to. Oh, there go the doggies.
Hey.
Got the both of these for 100, so I'm okay with that. That one was only 30, and this thing just came out as a reprint a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not perfect white, but I'm okay with that because it's
looking.
Lopez. Anytime I see his name on a book, I really need to get it. But those were just the back issues that I picked up this week. And as Michael Eamon's been saying in the chat here, a small month for me would be like 500 books. And that's accurate-ish because I haven't shown the new books that came out this week. And I pulled out the Spawn because I didn't know if Lady would be here to make fun of me for that.
Don't worry, I'm here for it.
Okay, well, I still pulled it out. So who wants to show a few more?
I guess
because we still have some stuff to talk about here. I mean, we have the bankruptcy, we have the Neil Gaiman story, but let's see a few more books.
I was just literally reading another article on the Gaiman story. All right, I'm just gonna knock out
so many.
Since we got some topics, I'll just knock out everything in one shot here. So I actually showed you guys the packaging for this. If anybody's interested, this is the packaging for this. They had 5 books listed. I only needed 3 of them. The guy listed the 5 books for like $24. I made an offer of $15, and with my offer, I said, I just need, and I listed the books I needed. He just accepted the offer, didn't realize that I'd only asked for 3 books. So I might have even been able to go lower, but I don't care. I just care that they're not in numerical order. Usagi from the 2nd volume with Mirage. We got issue 7. We got issue 9. And we've got ourselves issue 10. I believe I need 12 and 8, and I'm done. I'll have to double check, or 8 and 14. I need like 2 more issues, and I'm done with that run. So I'm very excited. This next one's a little beat up, but I saw it. Why do you think I bothered to pick up issue 117?
Oh, my guess would be there's a newsstand.
There you go. So if you collect Spawn newsstand issues went to 132. They were rarer, and when they started out, maybe 10% went down to very, very, very few.
And even beat up, they're like $50 each.
Yeah, I did at one point try to collect them all. And I'd say I had 2/3 of them, including quite a few in the 20s and the teens. And I sold that for quite a lot of money. So I'm not looking to collect it again, but I can't not buy some certain things. There were 4 of these, but only 1 that I needed, and I only need 2. I'm so close to finishing this run. Ha ha! The Toxic Avenger. Behind his back lurks Biohazard.
You got the Toxic Avenger!
I love that you put the patriotic music on for that. So yeah, I'm actually a bigger fan of Toxic Avenger 2, because we used to watch that in college, and there was this scene where this girl on roller skates and like satin shorts, and she's like a young teen. She gets lured into an alley, and the guy that lures her like promises her that she's going to see David Bowie. And she gets back there, and instead it's the Toxic Avenger. And she's like, "You said you were going to take me to see David Bowie. That's not David Bowie." It was funny.
Wait, if we're talking about Toxic Avengers here, and you're showing a book like that, I mean, really?
Do it.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert. Holy fucking shit. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking god. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking god. Look at that book. Look at that book. Jesus. Oh my god.
I like turtles.
All from Toxic Avengers.
He does like turtles.
Gotta love it.
He like turtles.
So the gang out there knows that I love newsstands. I specifically love them because that's what I grew up with. I bought my comics at a newsstand, 1985 through 89. I did not. I just took you out, you liar. I did not go to a comic shop until I was in college, and I didn't buy many comics then anyway. So picked up a few. This one actually, I didn't even realize it had a rip in it. I was rushing. But from 2010, I got a whole bunch of Hulk newsstands. And the reason why I like this one is check this cover out.
Especially now that they're talking about a movie being made right now of it.
Look at that. Look at that. There's a little rip here. I could put my thumb right through it, but that's okay. I'll take that. 2010 newsstands. We got 620. They had like about 12 of these. I grabbed about 6 that I just thought were cool covers. Red She-Hulk and Hulk there. Another little battle. Then we get up to like 2011, issue 632. This one's got a bit of a crunch on it, but I don't care.
Still cool.
Yeah, these are just like not that many out there. You know, for the amount of times I've been to half price books and looked, I never see these. Though I do have some books coming up in a minute that I do see. So 635. That was the latest one I could find. Spider-Man 651 newsstand. And then I literally think I've shown these 4 books before, but these are new ones that I picked up today. And if they're doubles, I don't care. X-Men 521
Nice.
newsstand.
Nice. Very nice.
X-Men 538 newsstand. And now that I look closely, man, is that I don't know, someone took like a razor blade to their yeah, somebody did take a razor blade. I don't know if it's because they were returned, but 539 with a razor blade cut through it. It's hard to see, but
chances are they were trying to cut off a piece of plastic that bound them.
Yeah. And then 4 issues away from the end, I believe it went to 544. There's issue 5.
Nice.
Newsstand. Pretty happy. First appearance of Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. Got that for 50 cents. Very
it was
happy.
like a $50 book for a while.
Yeah, it's still listed as like a $30 book. That's why I grabbed it up. This is one of the few later Dark Horse issues that commands a bit of money just because it's supposed to be a cool cover. I don't know. I already have it, but I got it.
Under 12,000 printed.
There you go.
It just keeps getting lower towards the end.
Yeah. Here we go. Got ourselves a little bit of Ultimate Avengers. They didn't have issue 3, unfortunately, which would have been super cool. Got myself a little bit of New Avengers. Newsstand 2009, 2010. And then I got something really rare for me. I got myself a Star Wars I didn't have. I think.
Nice.
Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire. Flying through the air with a cage full of pig-like creatures. And this was in one of these like magazine sealed things. I don't know, man. Half price is strange. First appearance of Storm Ranger. Her costume that's sort of like Venom as Venom was to Peter Parker, Storm Ranger is to Kamala Khan.
And we've never seen that costume again.
Yeah, it was the big rage for a while, as was Amulet, the first Muslim supervillain who we've never heard of again. This is kind of a sleeper one, and it's got some cover stuff. This is Unleashed, the first team up of a bunch of not the pet Avengers, but another group of animal-like creatures. I believe Jeff is part of that group. I think, or is this one just dogs? I can't remember. I'll have to read it. Like I said, I just got home. Lockjaw's in here for sure. I'm not sure if Jeff's in here, but a bunch of people are in here. And I kind of thought the cover was cool because it's Miss Minutes on something that does not say timeless. And then rounding out the rest of my trip, I think I needed these. And this is what led us into the Sandman discussion, because my book, my half price, had a bunch of the Sandman universe. And these are actually Black Label, which I guess kind of was their new Vertigo, but Vertigo had closed by this time. So these are considered DC Black Label as opposed to DC Vertigo. 16, 17. I know I've got this. So I know that like I didn't write down that I didn't have it because I think this is my third copy now, but it still says I don't have it on the app. And 20.
I didn't realize they were putting these out with a Black Label.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This series was really pretty good. And thank you, Michael.
Jesus Christ.
and then what's it called? The Dreaming Waking Hours, which was written by one of my favorite authors, G. Willow Wilson. That one is really, really good too. Part of the Sandman universe. And Bill Quest Evely just does amazing artwork on those.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So we're all drinking coffee now?
Yeah.
It is that late, right?
Yeah.
I'm finishing my cup now.
Oh, I love it. Wonder Woman. I almost caught up on Wonder Woman last night. I've got 16. I need 13, 14, and 15.
Nice.
I just finally got to the issue where Steve Trevor doesn't quite make it, and she winds up in well, I don't want to really spoil it, but you kind of find out how Trinity's born.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with sex, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful issue.
It was. Heartbreaking, but beautiful. Yep.
Really good run, though.
Yeah, it's been a very enjoyable run. Very, very good.
So, Miracleman, do you have a few more books?
I got
we
some
can
more.
start talking about Sandman and Gaiman and Diamond and all the things that are going into 2025, making it a giant dumpster fire.
I got books to show if you want to do books. So we can talk about the game
more.
and dumpster fires or whatever you want to do, man.
We can talk about it as we show books.
We could do that too. Although, I don't know.
Because I haven't read anything that came out this week yet. I just bag boarded and was in trial most of the week.
So this was a really good. I didn't even grab any of my new books. This was a good week for new books. This was not a new book. This is a little bit older. Y'all remember in the 90s when they had like 4 different Superman titles? The Man of Steel, the artist was a guy by the name of John Bogdanov.
Yeah.
Right? This is a John Bogdanov cover from the publisher of Mark Spears Monsters.
Oh, cool.
Jungle Drama, Salty Beaches. And it's a copper tone homage cover, as you can tell. This just came out recently, although I don't know how recently, but fairly recently. And it's a little. I did not know John Bogdanov was doing covers for Keen Spot. Anyway, speaking of Moon Knight, got a couple more of the Mark Spectors. Here's issue 4. Getting real close to finishing this one off. And here's issue 11. Yes, in the 90s, both Marvel and DC had an overloaded character named Arsenal with too many guns. In DC, he was a hero. As you can see here in Marvel, he was not. Almost done with my Defenders run. I now need 3 issues. Look at that one.
Oh, nice. That's going to be one I'm going to start at some point soon. So awesome.
Last issue I needed for the original Superman Batman run. A couple of the only issues from Superman Volume 2 I needed. First of all, look at this one. Got the black background on the S.
Great one.
Don't know how I didn't have this one. The Batman and Lois team-up issue. That was actually a pretty good book right there.
And newsstand at that.
And newsstand at that. And look, this
was when I started reading Superman, all because Ed McGuinness was drawing it.
This is a little raggedy, but I got this. I think I spent like 30 cents on this. I forget what it broke down to because I've got a pile of books. Check it out. There's an old Justice League, square bound, under 100. I think that's it. Actually, that's issue 58.
Any of the square bounds, any of the oversized, the ones that are 25 cents instead of 12, just like Silver Surfers, they printed less of them, and they didn't go to people that had subscriptions, so they're more expensive.
All right. Birds of Prey number 8. If these from DC, these white background covers, all the books did this white background cover from this month, maybe it was the 2 months. These are actually kind of tough to find if you don't have them already. It was one of the few Birds of Prey issues I didn't have. Speaking of finishing off runs, which I wasn't, Hawkman number 3, that's from the Tony Isabella run. Finished that one with that book. Check these out. Look at this. I love these. Look at this. Is just He-Man Thundercats. Serena, Queen of the Jungle. I'll check that out. Here's another one. He-Man Thundercats number 3. Look at that. Now, if you remember, the last time I was on, I had some underground books. Look at this. Riptide number 1. This is a positively Liefeldian length of leg.
Yeah. More leg than body.
But look, he drew feet.
It's rare, but he can do it.
They're a bit hoof looking, but he drew feet. But I picked up a huge pile of these underground books, right? And I didn't finish showing them all. This isn't it. This is Werewolf from Blackthorn. If you find a Blackthorn book, you should grab it because you're never going to see it again.
Somehow I have that.
See, that's crazy. Here's Werewolf 3D. Not a series, just random stories about werewolves. But yeah, I picked up all these underground books that you'll probably never see again, and I'm going to finish showing them to you. Some of them are of a mature nature. Here's Pure Joy number 1. Actually, I did show you that. Valley of the Dildo Sars. I had to have shown you that, right? Come on now. And then there's a couple of these here. These are adults only from Jensler and Gonif. Right? See, those are very tame covers, but they're not tame inside. This is the one that's a little wild. Manhunt Comics. Look at that cover. Look at that. Someone's got a mirror of stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Here's Young Lust. I feel like I showed you these. I feel like I might have
No, not these.
No? Here's Young Lust number 1. Here's Young Lust number 5. These undergrounds, man, you don't see them. Here is Gay Heartthrobs number 3. When do you see adult gay comics?
Rarely.
On this show.
Right. That's about it.
There you go.
That's about the one place. Check this one out. Everybody here, this is Coochie Cootie Men's Comics.
Oh, dear.
Okay, look at this. That is one hell of a cover. There is a lot going on. So, bit wild. And then, I'm trying to finish my tarot run. And at this point, I'm like, if I find it, I'm getting it. Normally, I don't buy the premium issues because every issue has like a $25 copy. But I found this one. This is a photo cover, autographed, limited to 500, issue 94. Here's a little Jim Ballant, little Holly G autograph. And that's Boo Cat. That's a young lady cosplaying as Boo Cat, who's a character within the book, in case you don't know. If you're unfamiliar, you should read it, though. It's actually really good. Here's another one, again from Blackthorn, Battle Force. It's like a mech book. And I posted this on Blue Sky, which is far superior to Twitter, by the way. There's issue number 2. And a friend of mine who's really into this stuff gave me all kinds of information that I couldn't repeat to you right now, but it was very fascinating about, it basically sounds like it was Transformers, right? Like there was like this brand over here and this brand over here, and they merged together and they made a new brand. Here's a Danger Girl Back in Black #3. These Wildstorm books in this era get a little tough to come by. Way back in the early days of the show, we had on a guest, Zach Quaintance.
Oh, yeah.
You remember Zach? He had
I
done a
do.
Kickstarter. Well, this was his most recent Kickstarter, Death of Comics Bookcase. And I just finally got it. He had fulfilled it a while ago. These are a couple that were left on his Etsy store, and when he was doing the Kickstarter, I just couldn't back it at the time because various financial issues. And so I was like, you know what? He put it up on his Kickstarter on his Etsy, so I bought it. Talk about crazy low print runs, very difficult to find. Heroic Tales from Lone Star Press. Lone Star Press was a comic that they were a publisher in Texas. They had their own comic shop. They closed the comic shop and, or at least the traditional brick and mortar, and closed the Lone Star Press and are today mycomicshop.com. If you find the Lone Star books up in the Northeast, man, you're doing good. They're not easy to come by in the Northeast. I've been to Texas and I couldn't find them. They weren't that easy to come by. And then just one last little quick run I'll show you before we get into the talk here. I'm trying to finish off the Baxter Paper New Teen Titans run. And I got a nice little pile, issue 19. So back in the day, issue 21, the Teen Titans were so popular, issue 22, that they showed a direct to comic shops, an LCS only edition, number 23. And that was these, right? These were sold in the LCS, number 24. And these came out first. And then you got a newsstand that was on newsprint. And here's issue 25. And they were essentially, I mean, they weren't reprints, but they kind of were because they came out after. And they were of a lower quality. But these books are really nice. Remember Baxter Paper Boys? From the olden days. The thing I like about that paper is you look, they're all pretty high quality, pretty white yet 30, 40 some years later. It's easy to have a nice looking copy, which is why these, while a more expensive book, are nowhere near as collectible as the newsprint ones, because the newsprint ones didn't age as well. And on top of that, the newsprint ones were newsstand. So a better book, technically the first printing, not anywhere near as expensive as the cheaper product from a collectible standpoint. So in case you're wondering, I might be a little bit off there, but I feel fairly confident on my facts. And that's it.
Nice.
So I guess I can start showing some things in a little different way here so we can talk about everything. These are the new comics that came out this week, and I'll do it in a way where we can see everybody.
There we go.
And talk about the things that have been going on this week, such as Diamond's bankruptcy. They owe $31.7 million to creditors.
Yeah.
$9.2 million of that is owed to Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point now that so Lunar is picking up Diamond's FOC orders from the 13th forward, and it's starting to look like they have to go into any kind of receivership, either Universal or possibly even Penguin Random House might wind up buying them out.
Yeah.
Because at this point, all they want is just their assets back. And Vault has already been talking about distributing directly to shops.
Yeah, they've
AP's Ben Dunn said, they're going to be scaling back titles from AP. So Gold Digger's long done now, but it just means that there's going to be less opportunity for some of these smaller publishers. And a lot of these stores, like your regular LCS, their owners are going to have to come to some kind of choice of whether or not they should stay with Diamond or cut and run to Lunar, PRH, Penguin Random House. And it's a little topsy-turvy. I mean, the one thing that I could tell everybody, if you wind up picking up books every Wednesday and you order FOC, to go and pick up your Wednesday books, because there's nothing that's so damaging to a shop than ordering books and not picking them up. And something that's really scary that could happen, and it's not being talked about so much yet, is the fact that because they're owing $31.7 million to their top creditors, they could just call in their debt.
Right.
And they could start telling their comic shops that they're selling to, hey, you know how you owed us about $4,000 or $20,000 or $80,000? Because that's how much some of these shops are having to pay per week, per order, and it gets backed up. They might call in that debt, and if they can't pay it, that shop's not going to be around much anymore.
Here's what I foresee. PRH immediately cuts I don't know about immediately. Let me rephrase that. PRH cuts off Diamond from buying Marvel, or Marvel cuts them off from buying Marvel. Right. So, because they already owe big time. Marvel is just going to cut them off because they've been letting them buy wholesale. So they're going to cut them off, and that's going to put them into the death spiral. Because while not a lot of people, I'm willing to bet, I don't know what the percentages are. I know a good chunk of people are not ordering their Marvel through Diamond. There are still a portion that are, and that has to be helping them right now. I mean, what's Marvel? 40% of the market?
Yeah.
So if they lose Marvel, that's it. They're done. They're finished. If they lose it at the wholesale, which already they lost distributor, now they're at wholesale, so they're going to go down if they lose anything else. Now, my real concern is not so much with Steve Geppi, the guy who owns Diamond, right, or runs it. I think there's a president, but he's the owner. I forget what it is.
It's still Steve Geppi.
He tried to censor Miracleman #9 back in the 90s.
Remember that.
Remember that? He didn't want to sell it because of the graphic depiction of birth.
Issue 9.
I have since then said forever and a day, fuck Steve Geppi, right? I don't give a fuck what happened. In fact, every time I see something bad happen to Steve Geppi, a little bit of person inside of me, the bad person, I'll admit it, the bad person goes like this. Okay, I'll admit that's a bad person. But I'm not so upset that Steve Geppi has something bad happen. Not permanently. I don't want to see him hurt. I just, if your business suffers a little, you kind of deserve it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the way you could look at anything Elon Musk owns. I think that he's a giant prick, but there's the fact that there's all these other people that work for him that just need to collect a paycheck. Or similar to like how we were talking about Neil Gaiman, do you really want to support anything that he might make money on? And you have a TV show where there's a season 2 being made right now.
Yep.
Will we watch it? Will they decide to go through with the season 3? We don't know yet because there's all these other people that are that take part of it. All the actors, the writers.
Yep.
Even production assistants, everybody is kind of depending on a paycheck there. And because of one person doing some shitty stuff, it would be nice if we could cut them out of all that. But when it's the person's own special creation, not like Teen Titans,
right,
it's a little harder to call ick on that.
Even forgetting the multimedia stuff, the thing to me, and I think Tacoma and I were speaking about this before the show started, the part to me that stands out is, you cut, okay, nobody ever talks about anything Neil Gaiman ever did again. Well, what about Colleen Doran? Right? Some of her best work she's a phenomenal illustrator. She's well known in the community as somebody who has been a champion for women, has counseled people on how to stand up to people and protect themselves. By all accounts, had no idea what's going on. And if sales of products that money would go to Neil Gaiman for dry up, well, then there goes the money to Colleen Doran too, or whoever the collaborator is, right? And it's like with Warren Ellis, did some slimy stuff. didn't try to atone, tried to kind of skate by it. Well, now people don't talk about Warren Ellis. Well, that also hurts Derek Robertson. That also hurt John Cassidy, until he passed.
Yeah, I just say he's not hurting anymore. It's horrible.
Not anymore. Right.
Yeah, but it is his family that would be recouping that money, and I'm sure they could use it.
Right. So, it's a struggle because you don't want to. Right. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. Yeah. You know what? Actually, let me just fucking go off on a rant for half a second about this.
If you don't, I will. So go ahead.
And I'll tell you what the fuck really pissed me the fuck off. Listen,
I'll bet you I know what it is. Go.
Listen. I am familiar with the kink community, right? I'm not a kink shamer. I've dabbled in some things in my life. And let me tell you something right now. The motherfucker hiding behind on into BDSM. Fuck you. You're right. You're right, Tacoma. Fuck you. You are not into BDSM. You're into abusing people. There are some very, very clear rules in the BDSM community, and you fucking shit all over every single one. You're an abuser. You're not into BDSM. You're into abusing people. You lying sack of shit.
BDSM is all about consent, and when you don't have that consent, I mean, really the sexuality of it is completely dismissed by that in and of itself. But the fact that, when you get that consent, that's what makes it hot. When the consent is not there, one, it's illegal and your ass should go to jail. But two, if you are famous, there is two completely different codes of law and justice, especially if you're not in America. And if he walks back into America, will he be prosecuted? Hey, we just put somebody back into the presidency that, well, I'm not going to say too much there because I don't want to get sued. Because that's what happens to chill free speech rather than allow you to say whatever you're going to say. They'll just sue us. And yeah, I'm not even a millionaire. I'm not even a hundredaire.
Right. Fuck.
So yeah, there's a lot. I'm looking for. I have a non-paywalled link to the article. So just in case anybody is not up on it, the accusations came out a few months ago that he was up to no good, cheating on his wife, and some people had accused him of abusing them. And he came out and claimed that they were confused in their mind, which it seems maybe he was more than them for sure, and that everything was consensual. And he seems to have a warped view of what consent is. But then just earlier this week, like Monday, Vulture and apparently the New Yorker as well, produced an article, investigative journalism, which is still a thing and should still be paid for and is still important. Went into mass detail and content warning, trigger warning before you read it, everybody. It's really, really, really bad. He just went off and beat women and claimed it was part of a BDSM fantasy. And what you're going to find people say, and fuck them if they say it, well, they could have left, or, oh, they stayed with him. And, that means that he's right. It was consensual, or that makes it okay, or they should have left. So, that's where the term power imbalance comes in. And it's not like a lame term. It means something. It means that the people that he was with were young, homeless, destitute, going back and forth from job to job, literally trapped on his private island or his private acreage on an island off the coast of New Zealand, where a lot of billionaires live. Not the one who killed himself in jail, but that sort of thing. So you don't have the choice and the ability to just be like, oh, yeah, I'll leave. This makes me uncomfortable. You're stuck. You're psychologically damaged. And this is where Amanda Palmer, I think, needs to take a lot of the blame here and should not get away innocent.
Yep.
She procured these women. That might be a strong statement, but I'm going to stand by it. She introduced these women to her husband, knowing who and what he was, because she heard it from plenty of them. Yet she still procured people thinking, oh, this one will be different. I'll just leave her alone. She can babysit my son. and Neil will be kind to her. And of course, that's not what happened. So it's pretty disgusting. The article goes into some grisly detail about abuse that he may or may not have suffered himself. And obviously not an excuse, but an interesting part of the story if you can remove yourself from the horrors of the story. It seems kind of, and we were talking about this backstage, kind of like Woody Allen. It very much seems like, Neil was not telegraphing his wish to be a feminist or to help people so much. He was telegraphing his own abuse and his desire to be an abuser because he did not know or could not tell that it was quiet.
So essentially, they were this couple.
On a lower level, absolutely. I don't think that Amanda Palmer was a professional procurer the way Jelaine was, but certainly
There's a pattern.
Should have known better, did not stop it, claims that it's been a messy divorce and she's been trying for years, but has not done anything to put an end to it and put more women in harm's way when she should have known better and should have stopped. All under the guise of, I'm a carefree spirit artist. I do things differently. Oh, I meet people on the street. We're kindred spirits. I introduce them. I help them out so that they can, babysit my child and be a caretaker. And no, it's all a game and it's BS.
There was even an article that just came out today in the Miami Herald where there were two attorneys down here in Central Florida, and they were pretty normal by any accounts. And then one time they came home drunk, and the wife started seducing the babysitter that was the babysitter of the family for about a good 5, 6, 7 years. The girl didn't want to come out and say anything about it, but the wife came back home drunk, got on top of the babysitter, and the husband kept holding her down. And they were trying to say, no, it was all consensual. It's only consensual if the other person gives consent. You can't just determine that in your own head. That's just called living in a different reality. And in the end, it's just they can't keep saying it was consensual. It's consensual because no.
Nope. Stop talking. Go to jail.
Is it that hard?
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to add one last thing here on this game thing. I just can't talk about it anymore. But Neil worked on Miracleman, right? After Alan, Neil took over, right? And it gets really fucking weird and whatnot, right? And if I will say right now, if it takes me never seeing the end of the Miracleman story for Neil Gaiman to be held accountable, then I fully accept that. It's a very small price to pay, right? These people are going through just horrific. They lived through something horrific, right? And they're permanently scarred from this. And Neil was the persona he gave. This is the most disappointing thing to me. The persona he gave was as a champion, as somebody who stood up for the little person, who's somebody who used their power and their privilege in the way that you want somebody to do it, right? And that doesn't take away from all the times that he did actually do it, but it also doesn't excuse what he did. So anybody who comes along with any level of defense for him, look, people are not black and white, right? We're multitudes, and we're many shades of gray.
Shades of gray,
right? And that's what Neil. This is the darkest side of Neil. And while I appreciate that he had some very light sides and things that he did that were really good. He stood up for trans people. He stood up for in some instances he did stand up for women at different times. None of that negates all of the awful. And if you really believed in that, Neil, if you really believed in that, and this was you stumbling over and over and over and over and over again. But this was you stumbling. Then what you should do, and you already know to do if you truly believed it, was dive right in and fucking atone and pay the price. And anything short of that means he never believed in any of that, and it was all a fucking facade.
Yeah, just take a look at any kind of addiction programming, whatever it is, that 8th and 9th step where you have to go and make amends for the things that you've done wrong. I mean, it's something that could apply to everybody's life and would be very helpful, but you need to take responsibility for things that you've done in the past. And just like anybody that exists now in the beginning of time to the end of time, you can't just do 4 nice things for the one shitty thing, hoping you can get away with it. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You can either decide to be remembered as a Betty White or a Scott Baio. You get to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add. I think you guys kind of summed it up really well. Again, I just tried the paywall free link that I had, and it's not working anymore. But if you can get a hold of the article, again, trigger warning, and not that there is a positive side to it. The connections to his own abuse and to the early teachings of L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Abuse Cover-Up Scientology is quite interesting. And specifically stuff that he wrote in his most recent book, for The Boy at the End of the Lane or something. I haven't read it, but he says the boy is not him, but people who knew his family from way back said, oh, no, that's absolutely him. And you can see where some of this comes from. And again, I'm not excusing any of it. I'm just saying as an intellectual interest, it's an interesting read, but trigger warnings for sure.
Yeah.
And then, there's our Sandman books we were discussing. You're not harming him by taking them away. You're not harming him by buying secondhand stuff. You might be helping him out by watching the show, which might give you pause when season 2 comes out, but you're also helping out a couple thousand people that worked on the show who are not him. So there's, it's too easy to be like, no, I'm never buying anything or ever again. Like I will never buy a J.K. Rowling book again, but that's more like one author. It's a little bit easier than a TV show that's worked on or a book with art, etc., colors, inkers, etc. I'm done. I'm angry, but I'm done.
It's something that we are going to have to come to some kind of terms with because, I have the entire run of Sandman. I've had it ever since it came out. This is what got me to continue reading comics as I got older as a teenager and just didn't care about the edginess of Marvel's violent extremist comic books. Make everything with a lot of pads and pouches. What the hell with that? Ooh, there's this Sandman. Wow, it's intellectual. It's smart. It's great. And he was kind of ripping off other people. Specifically one specific woman that's name is not coming to mind right off the top of my head right now. But I'm not going to sell my Sandman, and especially right after a news story like this, because it's probably going to crash the market to a point, because there will be people that want to get rid of it. So probably if you ever wanted it, you could probably get it cheaper now than any time before in history, but you're not directly giving him money. Any of the books that he's coming out with now, I mean, there's going to be a segment of that money that would go to the other creators, but personally, I wouldn't want to continue following that. I mean, as you might have seen right back here in my background, I used to keep right next to that issue of Preacher back there, the Sandman #1. I just switched that out today for a copy of Shazam. And that's just because I don't want to reflect that I support that kind of behavior in any way. And that's just how we have to look at that going forward, what we support and how that speaks about ourselves. So like anything else, what is my position in this? Because we want to be on the right side of history for this.
By the way, that author you were thinking of, her name was Tanith Lee.
That's it.
It has come out with all of this that Neil essentially swiped almost everything from Tanith Lee and her novels from Tales from the Flat Earth. The main character is the Master of Dreams. His sibling is Death. The main character, the Master of Dreams, looks very much like Morpheus. You can pick up some of the. Somebody said they picked up volume 3 of the series, literally flipped it open to some random page, and they found a character that was a straight. That a character from Sandman was clearly straight, just taken right from it. And Neil has never given her credit, never one time ever. If you can find these tales from the Flat Earth, if you want to read something Sandman like, Tales from the Flat Earth, Tanith Lee is her name. She unfortunately passed away a number of years ago. Not financially, not financially well off.
Breast cancer.
But if she has any family who might still receive anything, I don't think the books are in print, so you're probably gonna have to track them down. But they look very interesting. I'm absolutely gonna give them a try myself. And if we should, let's not forget that there's been a lot of abuse here in a lot of different ways, and the man that pretended to be the champion of women was abusing a woman silently by becoming successful by just essentially ripping off her ideas. So please bear that in mind and check out her stuff.
And again, that name is Tanith Lee. Go check that out. I'm going to check that out because I was a huge fan of Sandman for years. And I guess I'm not going to be doing my reread every 5 years. So instead, I'm going to try Tales from the Earth by Tanith Lee. And I recommend you all do that too. Is there anything else that you guys want to add? Any appearances coming up on other shows?
No, I will not be here next week. I'm going to be in Portland seeing Ani DeFranco
Look at
live.
this guy. Look at this guy over here.
First time. I've been a fan of hers since college in Buffalo when we were almost in the same circles in 1990, but I never actually saw her live.
That's awesome.
Pretty
And
excited.
now you will, and you can
Enjoy.
start sending us pics of it while we're live on the show to go, look what he's doing
Won't be
over
quite
here.
the same wild concert the last one was, but I'll send you something for sure.
I can't stand. I was jumping around and dancing too much.
That's what happens when you get old, boys.
Oh, if Michael, send me an email or send me a text, or if send Miracleman a text or message because I'm not on Twitter anymore. If you're on Blue Sky, send me a DM and I'll make sure that I get you the link for next week because I'd love to have you back on the show. It's been a long time since Michael Iman's been on, and he's the guy that's been in the chat this entire time, giving us jokes, which we heavily need on this show.
Right.
Especially for dark topics like this. Not to make light of anybody's situation, but yeah, the heavy stuff can be a little draining at the end of the day.
Right.
But otherwise, we'll be back next week this is the 17th, and that was the other banner I had for the last episode. So we will be back next week. That will be on the 24th, I believe, next Friday, 9 p.m. Typical top 10 books and everything. But we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And Miracleman, Ian, thank you all so much for coming.
Thanks for
The
having
chat,
me.
Michael, DJ, Tacoma and Miracleman and Brightazel, and let's see who else, Liz Crucis, and everybody that watched on the rewind. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Love you all. Good night. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.